Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Friday flowing into the weekend edition of Interesting Ideas. Yes, as I pointed out to a few of you, I wasn't able to be on the radio yesterday because of all kinds of other things, but I did let you know that the baseball game that was scheduled for Thursday evening, the World Classic Field of Dreams baseball game, is that my wife Karen, would have a part of that story, a part of that famous film story, which is now a classic film and celebrated not only in America and North America, but by baseball fans and people all over the world. Field of Dreams. And that my wife has a part of that story. Well, that's what I'd like to talk about on this Friday flowing into the weekend, because many of you know that there was a very famous slogan that eventually emerged from that wonderful film, and here it goes. If you build it, they will come. Supposedly that was the voice that the main guy heard. If you build it, they will come. And so he did. And many people were opposed to that stupid idea, but he believed in it, and he built it. And sure enough, the baseball players from times past all came out of the cornfields in Iowa, and he actually had a classic old-fashioned baseball game. Those of you who know the film know it well, and I just know that already you caught it. And the program that they had on Worldwide Baseball last night was that two of the major league teams dressed up in old costumes, and in that little place in Dyersville, Iowa, where that film was made, they actually have a real old-fashioned baseball game. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about that and about my wife Karen and her story. You will find that it's not only a wonderful story, not because my wonderful wife Karen is in it, and she is one of the nice Karens, as she says, it's because you can learn something. Is it possible that if you build it, they will come? Well, let's find out. I'm Stan Houston. These are Interesting Ideas, and the program begins right now. And we're back. Here we go. Okay, the film is about a farmer, young farmer with a young family, who still remembers that he wishes he had a better relationship with his dad. And isn't that a part of the human condition? And all of a sudden he hears voices that say, if you build it, they will come. And that starts him off on quite a journey. Now, here's the deal, though. There was nothing about that attracted my wife, Karen. She's not that big of a baseball fan at all. However, the film was rumored to be about Chisholm, Minnesota. Chisholm, a film about now that's where my wife grew up as a child. Chisholm, Minnesota is a small city, really a town, in the upper part of Minnesota, in what was then the very historic Mesabi Iron Range country. Now, it still is, but in the 50s and 60s, it was booming. It was the place where just tons of iron ore was discovered. And Chisholm was one of the mining towns, literally a town that basically lived like Hibbing and Buell and, other towns like that. Virginia, they all lived on the fact that people came there to work in the mines. And it was a motley collection of people because the Norwegians and the Swedes and the Danes tended to be in the southern Minnesota, the Minneapolis area, St. Paul area, though the St. Paul certainly had their fair share of Irish, and that's another story. But a lot of the people from southern and more of the poorer areas of Europe flocked to Minnesota in the Iron Range because they could work and they could have jobs there. And that's where she grew up, and it had interesting stories. Now, the story of Field of Dreams is about this one baseball player called Moonlight Graham, a young man who wanted to play baseball. And the story is, as you may remember, is that he finally makes the big leagues, and he's put in for the last half of the ninth inning in a baseball game, a Major League Baseball game. He's in at the end of the game, and he plays 1/2 inning. And then the game is over, and it turns out the season is over for him, and he never made it back into baseball again. Moonlight Graham was the player who had a big league career of 1/2 inning, and he never, ever got to bat. That was the story. Well, of course, the story where my wife comes in is Moonlight Graham, since he didn't make it in baseball, became a doctor. And he landed up spending his entire life in the little town of Chisholm, Minnesota. And the one nice thing about the fact, even though it was a poorer area in terms of, the resources, and the people were mining people, so they weren't rich. They could make a living. But the mines were smart enough to make sure that the kids had a good school. And so the schools were well supplied. Some of the beautiful schools in that area are still standing, and they're quite beautiful. And they even had a school doctor. And what it was is Moonlight Graham became Doc Graham, the school doctor. And oh my goodness, if a child was absent, why was the child absent? When they were sick, the doc would go over to their house and check on them. There was not just a school nurse, there was a school doctor. And he spent his life doing that. Thousands of children were taken care of by Doc Graham. And it turns out at that particular time, my wife, as a small child, small little gal, had rheumatic fever, an infection that caught her. And that hurts the heart and can damage the heart. And of course it did. Even today, that's part of her life issues. And she had to be kept at home sometimes for lengthy times. When she could go to school, her father had to not only drive her there, but carry her up the steps and then come and carry her down. And every week, Doc Graham came to check on Karen and take care of her and make sure she was doing well and that she got the medicine she needed. And he always was so kind and gentle, and he always left her a dime. She said, "Do you know how wonderful it was to have a dime?" And it was. And so my wife Karen has wonderful memories of Doc Graham. Moonlight Graham became Doc Graham, and even though he had not very much of a baseball career and never got to bat, he had a wonderful, wonderful life and served children throughout that small city, town, that region, and thousands of them were better off and better cared for because of his life. So that was the story. And of course, part of the deal was that in the make-believe game that is Field of Dreams, not only is Shoeless Joe Jackson he's taken back, he's allowed to be back in baseball. And Moonlight Graham gets to bat. And he does well. Finally. And then, of course, you remember the child in the scene starts getting choked up. And guess what happens? Then Moonlight Graham disappears and Doc Graham comes in and saves the child's life. What a wonderful story. The kind of story we need today. The things that make us happy, make us smile, see the goodness that we're all capable of. And of course, the whole idea, if you build it, they will come. Now let's talk about that. Do you believe that? If you build something, it will come? Well, oftentimes the cynics make fun of such optimism, but if you'll give me a few moments to finish up, I think if you build it, they will come. And if you'll add a little bit more to the story, it just might be true for you. They are indeed interesting ideas. That's the name of the program. My name is Stan Houston. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. I'm glad when you come. We'll finish the story. We'll be right back. If you build it, they will come. Well, of course, that's not necessarily true. A lot of people build things and build a business and it doesn't work out. They build all kinds of projects. We all know that the entrepreneurial life is oftentimes more failures than successes, that you just keep building and building and building, and sometimes, eventually, one of them works. Oftentimes, it seems like it's just pure luck. And sometimes it seems like it's just pure bad luck. If you build it, they will come. Well, let me add to that just this. We are made to be builders. We are made in the image of God, the Creator God, and we will be at our best when we just don't do things, but we build things. We make things. We create things. We are not just to do a job. We are to do some creating. I love it when I see that the little studio area that I have, and it's in a nice building, and the landscapers come and they clean it up and make it nice. But you know what? And I always thank them. I say, this is wonderful. I'm so proud of the fact that I can have this nice office and people can come to record things in my studio, and it always looks nice out here. And I thank them for making it look nice. And you wouldn't believe how happy they are that I actually do that. They smile and big grins on their faces, and we're talking Spanish to each other sometimes, but they understand what I'm saying, but they love it. And then I find out that they point out that they not only have to clean it up and maintain it and trim it, but they are also given the responsibility that they can actually do some of the landscaping. They can put things in and change things. They can actually create something, not just clean it up. They get to create a scene, to create a landscape. And I said, it's like you're an artist. And they understood that. Oh, yeah, we're artists. We're artists. We're not just guys maintenance guys. There's nothing wrong with that, of course, but they're more than that. So it's important to be building something. But it's also significant that you believe in something. What do you believe in? That's vital. Now, when I'm helping someone build a business, I want to very much know how the business is going to be built, but then I challenge them to say, well, what do you believe in? What are your beliefs? What are the things that you believe in? Good, true, beauty, goodness, God, grace, mercy. What do you believe in? And then, what would you like to become? I've been challenged a number of times by people who say, I'd like to build a better business, Stan. Can you help me? And I say, maybe. But let me ask you this. Sometimes to build a better business, you have to build a better you. Are you prepared to do that first? Would you like to build a better you? Because it may take a better you to have a better business. Let me finish it up there on Friday. Build it. Will they come? Probably not. But if it's based on some great and strong and principled belief, that'll make it a better build. And if you become not only the owner of a business, but the very person, heart, mind, and soul of the business, if you build it, if you believe, if you become, there's a very good chance that they indeed will become. Build it, believe it, become it, and they will come. Just some interesting ideas. Let them sit on your head this weekend as you are creating your whole new life every week, every day, that you go to work, you go to do your business. Every day you're creating your destiny. Do it well. Build, believe, become. Hey, thank you. We'll be right back. I can probably help you. First of all, you need to do a podcast. That'll help you be better, and I can help you do that. So reach out to me. Say, Stan, I'd like to do what you're doing. I'd like to become a podcaster or a broadcaster. That sounds like fun, and I bet I could build a great business by becoming a podcaster. That'd be a great step. So reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. If it's that heart, mind, and spirit of a new business venture, I've helped numbers of people do just that. And I've had years of experience because I'm old, but I can still build it well with you. If you believe, if you're willing to change and become, we can build it, and they will come. Again, reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. Best and blessings to you. Become all you can be, and even more. Bye for now.